Hey guys, I'm your host, the Age of 41, and welcome back to Video Game Legends Revamped. Along with Mario, Link, and the ever-adorable Sackboy, one of the most famous video game characters in the entire industry is none other than Sonic the Hedgehog. As much as I legitimately despise the Sonic the Hedgehog series for reasons I won't go into right now, I'm not going to deny that Sonic and his extremely large entourage have made quite an impression on the gaming industry, but whether that impression is a good one or not is for you to decide. However, there are also quite a few mysteries about Sonic that not even Sonic Team is quick to answer. Legend number 1. Now, if you've seen my old Video Game Legends episode on my other channel, you may have heard me talk about a certain world-famous pop star and his connection with Sonic. If you haven't seen them, get ready. Michael Jackson was born on August 29th, 1958 in Gary, Indiana, and passed away on June 25th, 2009. His most famous Sega Genesis game was the infamous Moonwalker, a game very loosely based on the film of the same name. In the film, Michael Jackson, along with two very young and apparently legal guardianless children, don't think about it too hard, stumbles across an underground drug operation led by Mr. Big, played by Joe Pesci. The game adaptation generally follows the same plotline, albeit without Joe Pesci. However, Moonwalker wasn't the only, or even most famous Sega Genesis game he had a hand in. Enter Sonic the Hedgehog 3, or Sonic 3 and Knuckles as the full story is known. Sonic 3 and Knuckles follows one storyline, and that the evil Dr. Eggman has convinced the Master Emerald Guardian Knuckles to join his side and destroy Sonic, but was split into two games, Sonic 3 and Sonic and Knuckles, due to time and hardware restraints. Now, legend has it that Michael Jackson actually had a hand in creating this acclaimed game. How? Well, the story goes that Michael Jackson actually composed some musical pieces for the game. Is this true? Well, let's take a look. On December 2nd, 2009, a member of the website VGMDB, a website about video game music, brought attention to an article in Black and White magazine. In the magazine was an interview with Brad Buxer, a music composer for Sonic 3. He confirmed that the final version of Sonic 3 does contain at least one piece of music by Jackson. According to the article, Jackson did not wish to be credited by name in the credits because he was unhappy with the sound quality the Sega Mega Drive's Yamaha YM2612 sound chip produced. Buxer also brought the similarities between a certain series of chords in Jackson's video Stranger in Moscow and the Sonic 3 ending credits. However, the story doesn't end there. In September of 2005, an interview was held with Roger Hector, the executive coordinator for Sonic 3 and general manager of the Sega Technical Institute. In this interview, Hector tells a completely different story than Buxer. Hector says that Michael Jackson originally composed the entire soundtrack, but that the music was dropped from the game due to his child molestation allegations. They didn't want anything related to a child molester in a kid's game. Both of these stories tell of Jackson's involvement in the game's soundtrack, but no official statement has been released. Legend number 2. One of the most famous Sonic games of all time is none other than Sonic 2. It was the first game to introduce Tails, Sonic's lifelong best friend and hideous genetic mutation. It also introduced what is arguably the most famous and well-known Sonic legend ever: the Hidden Palace Zone. For those of you who aren't aware, the Hidden Palace Zone is a scrapped level from Sonic 2. It's an underground zone with purple water, sparkling gems, and dinosaur-like badniks. It's arguably the most infamous of the many scrapped Sonic 2 levels due to its appearance in promotional materials before the game was even released. It was never completely finished, although the majority of the first act is playable in the Sonic 2 Nick Arcade prototype. It was actually one of the first levels to be worked on, although it was stopped early during production. Strangely, it was kept in the game throughout most of the game's development, and deletion from the game was a last-minute decision. Unlike other scrapped levels in Sonic 2, Hidden Palace Zone is still in the game's programming in a corrupted form, but it can only be accessed via things like Game Genie. The second act can also be accessed, but it's essentially a barren, empty version of the first act. Hidden Palace Zone was originally going to be the level where you gain the ability to transform into Super Sonic after collecting all 7 Chaos Emeralds, according to Yuji Naka. Craig Stitt mentioned in an interview that Hidden Palace began as 2 acts but was made 1 before being cancelled. The name Hidden Palace Zone was reused in Sonic & Knuckles for use in an unrelated level, and some background art was reused in Sonic Spinball's Toxic Caves. To access the Hidden Palace Zone in Sonic 2, you must use the Game Genie code ACLA-ATD4. From here, enter the level select code 1965-917 with C in the sound test screen. Then, go back to the title and hold A and Start to access the level select screen. Select Death Egg Zone. The level is virtually unplayable without enabling debug mode 19921124 with C at the level select screen. It's impossible to beat without placing a capsule with debug mode. Legend number 3. Arguably considered by many Sonic fans to be the greatest Sonic game ever created is none other than Sonic CD. Developed by Sonic Team for the Sega CD and released on November 19th, 1993, Sonic CD was critically acclaimed and was voted in 2009 by GamePro as the 12th best platformer of all time. However, deep within the game's coding is something legendary. But believe it or not, there's actually secret screen-only access through a cheat that is actually pretty disturbing. To access it, go to the title screen. Then, activate Sound Test by entering the code down, 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 left, right, A. Once it opens, enter the numbers 46, 12, and 25. The picture shown here will now appear, accompanied by creepy Japanese singing. Also, the text that pops up is less creepy. It simply says, "Fun from Sega Enterprises." I doubt there'll be multiple Sonic episodes of this show, seeing as how few legends there are about the franchise, but these 3 are actually very famous legends. I'm your host, the Agent 41, signing out. Bye.